Did you think Gladiator II was historically accurate? Get ready to discover 11 mistakes that will completely change how you see the movie. Number 7 will leave you speechless. Did you know that the new Gladiator II revives an emperor who was already dead? Or that its Colosseum is more futuristic than historical? Stay until the end, because we will reveal the 11 things that this epic sequel made up about ancient Rome. And you will be surprised by number 1. Gladiator II, released more than 20 years after the original, tells the story of Lucio Verus, Paul Mescal, a captive taken to Rome and forced to fight as a gladiator. The movie unravels a web of lies, conspiracies, and power struggles as it becomes clear that Lucius is more than just any prisoner. He is the son of Maximus, Russell Crowe, and Lucilla Connie Nielsen from the 2000 movie Gladiator. Lucius Verus fights to survive both inside and outside the Colosseum, facing wild beasts and conning politicians alike. Emperors Caracalla and Gota, Fred Hechinger and Joseph Quinn, respectively, and an ancient slave named Macrinus, Denzel Washington, threaten and manipulate him at every turn. While there is some element of truth to Gladiator II, it is filled with historical inaccuracies and fiction. The details about the people, the details about the events, and even the creation of fundamental characters are just some of the crimes against history. In reality, it is difficult to decide where director Ridley Scott took the most liberties. First, there were no sharks. When mock naval battles were held inside the Colosseum, it is one of the most impressive scenes of Gladiator II. The naumachia, or mock naval battle, held inside the Colosseum. There is much about the organized water combat that the movie does well, but an obvious inaccuracy is the presence of sharks. Ancient historians like Pliny, Suetonius, and Tacitus all mention naumachia, attesting to its legitimacy. In no historical document, however, is there mention of sharks. The fish may have been brought in, but in the battles, they were used to put humans on display while they fought each other and recreated actual naval battles from Rome's past. Lucius Verus fights to survive inside and outside the Colosseum, facing wild beasts and conning politicians alike. Emperors Caracalla and Gota, Fred Hechinger and Joseph Quinn, respectively, and an ancient slave named Macrinus, Denzel Washington, threaten and manipulate him at every turn. While there is some element of truth to Gladiator II, it is filled with historical inaccuracies and fiction. The details about the people, the details about the events, and even the creation of fundamental characters are just some of the crimes against history. In reality, it is difficult to decide where director Ridley Scott took the most liberties. 3. The gladiators. They never surround rhinoceroses. Roman gladiators fought each other, participated in mock naval battles, and competed for their lives against wild beasts in front of large crowds in amphitheaters. These events were held as part of spectacles intended to celebrate special events. A subset of gladiators, called bestiari or beast fighters, were criminals or prisoners of war who were forced to fight against wild animals. Some chose to fight the animals for money or glory. There were also venations or hunts, during which bestiari or hunters took lions, panthers, bears, and elephants. On one occasion, it was reported that there was a giraffe, but at no time is there documentation of a gladiator riding a rhinoceros as part of an event. The closest they came was in 149 AD, when Antonius Pius held games, showcasing elephants and animals called chorocode. Perhaps hyenas and tigers and rhinoceroses, even crocodiles and hippopotamuses, in kind, all the animals from all over the earth. A historian pointed out that the rhinoceroses that the Romans would have presented in the Colosseum had one horn, not two, like the second inside gladiator. 4. Nobody, named Acatius, never existed. The character of General Marcus Acatius, played by Pedro Pascal, has no counterpart in history. While he presents himself as the husband of Lucilla, she was never married to a man by that name. Her two husbands were Lucius Verus, from 163 to 169 CE, and Tiberius Claudius Pompeianus, from 169 to 181 CE. This means that the rebellion against Acatius, which began in Gladiator II, was also completely invented. 5. Macrinus. He was not a slave. Gladiator II presents Macrinus as a former slave, who manipulates everyone he knows in an attempt to control Rome. He oversees the gladiator stable and takes Lucius Verus under his wing. Macrinus also supplies provisions to the Roman military. In real life, Marcus Aurelius Macrinus was not a slave, but he achieved something that someone from the equestrian class had never done before when he became Roman emperor in 217 AD, born in North Africa. He conspired to kill Caracalla in 217 AD, and, once the emperor was dead, took over the imperial throne. 6. Caracalla and Geta were not twins. In the months leading up to Gladiator II's release, director Ridley Scott said that, in the movie, Caracalla and Geta are twins and are definitely damaged products from birth. In a funny way, they are almost a repetition of Romulus and Remus. While the brothers may have been damaged, they were actually not twins. Caracalla was born in 188 AD to the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus and Empress Julia Domna. Geta was younger than his brother, but not by much. He was born the following year. 7. Macrinus. He had nothing. What to do? With the death of Geta Gladiator II, he accurately depicts Caracalla and Geta ruling the Roman Empire together. But he also creates the fiction that Macrinus had a hand in Geta's death. Historically, Caracalla killed Geta, but Macrinus was not involved. Caracalla saw Geta as a threat to his power, and after an early attempt to kill him failed, Caracalla secretly, even to her, sought the help of his mother. He told his mother, Julia Domna, that he wanted to make peace with Geta while meeting with him in his apartment. According to Roman history by Dio, once Geta entered, centurions, previously instructed by Antoninus, rushed in as a body and brought down Geta, who in their sight had run to his mother, hanging from her neck and clinging to her breast and bosom, lamenting and crying, "Mother who bore me! Mother who bore me! Help, I am being killed." And so she, deceived in this way, saw her son perish in the most impious manner in her arms, and received him at his death in the very womb, so to speak, from where he had been born. Roman statues. They were painted, not white. It is a common mistake that the statues in antiquity were white. In reality, Greek and Roman statues were painted and featured elaborate ornamentation. The colors used in ancient marble statues included red, yellow, and black. They were bound to the sculpture with a binding substance like egg, or were similar to wax and burn. Eyelashes, hair, skin tone, and other details were meticulously added to enhance the realism of the statue. 9. Lucius Verus was not a gladiator. At no point in his life did Lucius Verus participate in gladiatorial combat. Lucius Verus was born in 130 AD to the adopted son of Emperor Hadrian, Lucius Aelius Caesar. After his father died, Lucius was adopted by Hadrian's successor, Antonius Pius, and placed under his guardianship along with another relative of Hadrian, Marcus Aurelius. When Antonius Pius died in 161 AD, Lucius Verus and Marcus Aurelius became co-rulers of the empire. That same year, Lucilla's father arranged for her to marry Lucius Verus, but, because he was significantly older than her, they did not marry until 164 AD. Lucius Verus and Lucilla had 3 children, including a son who is believed to have also been named Lucius Verus. He died when he was still a child, which means that neither he nor his father were gladiators. 10. The real Lucilla was dead before Caracalla and Geta were born. While Lucilla's presence in Gladiator II is essential to the plot, the real Lucilla did not live long enough to see the rule of Caracalla and Geta. In fact, she was actually survived by her brother Commodus. The historical Lucilla was Commodus's sister, but she was killed by her brother after she conspired against him. In 182 AD, Lucilla gathered support to assassinate Emperor Commodus, but the attempt to kill him failed. Following the failed assassination, the conspirators were killed, and Lucilla was exiled to the island of Capri. While there, Commodus killed her. Since Caracalla and Geta were born in 188 AD and 189 AD respectively, Lucilla would never have known them. For his part, Commodus lived until 192 AD, 11. The gladiators did not fight. In the Colosseum. The historian David Potter says, 40% of the gladiators were probably free people who became gladiators to earn money. Moreover, most of the time it is to the first blood or a moment of surrender. It was once estimated that 9 out of 10 times no one dies. Even with this statistic, gladiator events were the pinnacle of entertainment in Rome. That said, no one would have heard of the Colosseum as a place to see it happen. It is not clear what the Colosseum was called in ancient times, but it was later known as the Caesareum Amphitheater. That was simply a nod to an amphitheater associated with the emperor or Caesar. The Colosseum was called the Flavian Amphitheater later, because it was begun during the reign of Vespasian, between 70 and 72 CE, and was dedicated by his son Titus in 80 CE. His last name was Flavian. Colosseum, as a nickname, did not come until the Middle Ages.